Everybody to 52 Living Ideas. Tonight is Poetry Mondays. I see maybe some one or two few new faces. I do remember, Michael. We do 3 sections to our evening. For the first third, we will share poetry with and amongst ourselves. We do have a featured poet. The featured poet today is Robert Frost. You're not required to read things by him. You're welcome to read a poem of your own or a poem of his that calls your name, or a poem from any other poet. That's fine. The second third, we're going to do collaborative poetry together. I did hear that you guys didn't get the chance to try a call and response using the themes of hell and heaven, like we had discussed. So we're going to try to get into that today. I'll give you a little more information when we come upon that section. And for the last third, at the end of the breakout rooms where you do your collaborative poems, we'll come back together. We'll share the poems. For the collaborative poems, we'll take a few minutes to decide in what order we want to splice them together. And then we'll reread them. And then we'll get into, we'll discuss the poems, the process, and how folks feel about it. So that is how Poetry Mondays go down. And I start us off with 1 or 2 poems from the featured poet, and then I ask and invite all of you to jump in and read a poem. Here, what we do ask is, if you are not speaking, please keep yourself muted just to keep the background noises to a minimum. If you would like to speak, go ahead and type exclamation in the chat. And at this session, the first part, we're asking you to type in the exclamation to read a poem. It can be a poem by Robert Frost, by any other poet, or your very own. So go ahead and you can go ahead and cue yourself up now if you wish. I'm going to start us off. I have a poem that is my favorite that I would like to read of Robert Frost, but I feel that I just absolutely cannot start with that one. I have to start with, obviously, The Road Not Taken. That is his most famous poem, I think. It's probably the most quoted poem of his, if not the most famous. So I feel obligated to start with that one. And so without further ado, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that, the passin' there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So that's kind of a great poem for encouraging us to, try something different, which is what we all do here when we're doing our collaborative poems, right? So that is
except there's irony in that poem, right?
Naturally.
Because actually it doesn't make any difference which path we take. We both end up whatever path we take, we end up at the destination that we end up at.
Which is pretty funny, right? Because he actually does literally say that in the poem.
Yeah.
I think that part is missed very often by a lot of people. Very quick. Joe, do you know how to turn off the little participants sound? I know Shrikant does it, but I'm not right now recalling how to do it. If you do and you can turn that off, I would be most grateful. But I'm not going to waste time looking for that. I am going to read for you one of my favorites of his. It's called The Sound of Trees, and I think it's quite lovely, so I shall share it with you today. The Sound of Trees by Robert Frost. I wonder about the trees. Why do we wish to bear forever the noise of these, more than another noise, so close to our dwelling place? We suffer them by the day, till we lose all measure of pace and fixity in our joys, and acquire a listening air. They are that talks of going, but never gets away, and that talks no less for knowing, as it grows wiser and older, that now it means to stay. My feet tug at the floor, and my head sways on my shoulder. Sometimes when I watch trees sway from the window or the door, I shall set forth for somewhere. I shall make the reckless choice. Someday, when they are in voice and tossing so as to scare the white clouds over them on, I shall have less to say, but I shall be gone. So this one also, there's a little irony and a little tongue-in-cheek because it's the same. He speaks of how the trees are teasing and never leaving. And I always got the feeling that it was the longing that he felt himself doing the same. So I kind of commiserated there. So this is one of my favorites of his. So I will possibly interject another one or two of his poems in between some of your readings. So go ahead and type an exclamation if you would like to share a poem with us. Don't be shy. Everyone here is friendly. Nobody bites. And if nobody raises their hand, you're stuck with me reading another poem. We're going to go with Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
So the reason I mentioned Robert Frost last week was only because of Fire and Ice had first come to mind. So was when I was thinking about a poem about heaven and hell. So figured I'll just choose that one. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. So this is based off of, from what I understand, Brett, it's Dante's Inferno, where essentially Canto 32, exactly, where he depicts people frozen in ice, which is pretty terrifying, to say the least. But I also find it interesting the use of the word desire and how our desires can actually lead to hell. And some ways that that's exactly what we're experiencing when we read Faust, that it is ultimately his desire for knowledge that leads him to bargain with the devil. Anyway, that's the only reason I thought, since it fit the theme.
Thank you, Joe. DLJ, you're up next.
Yeah, not to read a poem, just to comment on Joe's reading there. Nicely done. Yeah, so a week or two back, I punished you all by reading the poem that I did for my dad's funeral. There's a line in there about screams from fire and ice, which obviously has a reference back to Robert Frost. Although in my dad's case, it was bombing raids over Dresden, which was fire, and then bombing raids over somewhere like Norway, where they had to bomb a port without breaking the ice. They had to the RAF had to drop bombs from a certain height so it wouldn't smash the ice, so the German boats couldn't get through, but they would be able to go through the ice and therefore lay under the ice to mine the harbor, essentially, right? So my dad was involved in, well, I guess like Robert Frost was saying, the end of the world kind of thing, as they thought it was at the time, both fire and ice with the RAF. So personal memories for that, or personal connotations with that poem, and they will suffice. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Next up, I see Michael. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, just to continue on with that, and then I'm gonna read one. Like fire and ice, like yeah, definitely. Like having a hell type of deal. It's but it's like, I guess like I don't know if it's a time thing or like, if it's still a strong belief thing, which I respect on both. Like the elements of how like the world really turns into where it's like of how things are trying to keep stable on like, because it can't just be one thing. There has to be one that overshadows the other. So it's like when those two try like come together, yes, it forms steel, but however, steel does have a weakness. So it's like really, yeah, it's like very constructive of in that piece there. And this piece that I have, it's actually in inspiration of Robert Frost. He is one of my, I can't say favorite poets, but like he is one of the reasons of why like I love poetry. My wife in the shape of fire. How could this be? The one I find is from a burning piece of wood, but only founded in the forest of mystique goddesses, where the pure of heart can find their love of kindness. To not only protect from harm, but from the pain in the sky, when the emotion is too great from the dehydrated plants, or the violent burns from the disastrous strikes of light. To see and feel her presence by the wisp of the wind, hear her speak from the ripples at the stake. Watch her dance by the power of the soft wind, where I stand and watch with a ring I made from her form, holding it close to kneel before her sharpened image and stance, to place my hand in the center of her heart, to ask her hand in marriage, to only get a sound and smell of burning flesh. If not quick, my hand, the hand of my ring would be a crisp. Then hearing a clear answer that only the perfect voice could ever say, I do. When turning with precision, looking directly where the voice is heard, my archangel in the form of a woman, to love and protect with heart of steel, crafted from my glimpse of the name I seek, living together in the forest of where we had our first meet.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I like the imagery. I can almost like see the words coming off the paper. Thank you. Anyone else? Would anyone like to read a poem?
I'd like to hear Michael's again, obviously after, if there's time, but I'd quite like to hear that again, because if it's not written in front of me, I struggle to keep up with it. So I'm thinking of it because you've got some strong images in there, and I'm going, oh, and then I'm missing the next bit, right? Because it's not, yeah.
Let me
Yeah, the fiery hand turned it like
wow,
really.
yeah.
I lost that.
Yeah, that was
right
like, whoa. So I'd like to have it again, but obviously Marco's next, and you've only got time.
I tell you what, let's take a minute. Well, since we're already still thinking about it, Michael, if you don't mind to read your poem one more time for us, and then Marco, please forgive us, allow us this indulgence, and we'll go to you next.
Sure.
Thank you.
My wife in the shape of fire. How could this be? The one I find is from a burning piece of wood, but only founded in the forest of mystique goddesses, where the pure of heart can find their love of kindness, to not only protect from harm, but from the pain in the sky, when the emotion is too great from the dehydrated plants, or the violent burns from disastrous strikes of light, to see and feel her presence by the wisp of the wind. Hear her speak from the ripples at the stake. Watch her dance by the power of the soft wind. Where I stand and watch with a ring I made from her form, holding it close to kneel before her sharpened image and stance, to place my hand in the center of her heart, to ask her hand in marriage, to only get a sound and smell of burning flesh. If not quick, the hand of my ring would be a crisp. Then hearing a clear answer that only the perfect voice could ever say, I do. When turning with precision, looking directly where the voice is heard, my archangel in the form of a woman, to love and protect with heart of steel, crafted from my glimpse of the name I seek, living together in the forest of where we had our first meet.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, I've got the smell of burning flesh in my, I can, yeah, thanks. Very evocative, very good, thank you.
Marco, you're up next. Oh no, did we scare him away, Marco?
Sorry.
No worries. Hi.
Hello. This is a poem by Joy Harrow. She's a Native American poet. The title is Remember. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon now who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father, he is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are, red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth, we are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people and all people are you. Remember you are this universe and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance language is that life is remember. Yeah, what I like about it is just, you know, sort of the oneness of like, you know, all people and the one like to see the oneness in all things and all people.
So I love almost all of her poetry. I think she's phenomenal. I'm going rogue, guys. I'm going to read for you another poem by Jo Harjo. She's great. And now the poem that he just read is sometime in the 80s of hers. I'm going to read for you a newer poem of hers. This one's still about 10 years old, but it's one of my favorites of hers. So I'm going to share it with you. It's called Four Keeps, and it's by Joy Harjo. Sun makes the day new. Tiny green plants emerge from earth. Birds are singing the sky into place. There is nowhere else I want to be but here. I lean into the rhythm of your heart to see where it will take us. We gallop into a warm southern wind. I link my legs to yours and we ride together toward the ancient encampment of our relatives. Where have you been? They ask. And what has taken you so long? That night, after eating, singing, dancing, we lay together under the stars. We know ourselves to be part of the mystery. It is unspeakable. It is everlasting. It is for keeps. So that's my Gwen wrote contribution here. Thank you, Marco. Next up, I have Anton.
Yeah, I said, oh, all right, that was part of what you were reading, Maritza, because I was like, okay, what I have is I have verses saved in my phone. If I hear something that inspires me or reminds me or a thought comes to my mind, so I do want to share one called "When Mystery is Good, Even Grand." I'll post it in the chat before I share it. So hold on, let me copy it. One moment. Okay. And soon it'll be in chat just so people can follow along. Hold on. Okay, I think it's in chat now. All right. Good to have some degree of mystery in my life experience, such as serendipity. Synchronicity is the word I use for it, not an accident. Actually, I've affirmed first, though many times in my life I've been sweet served as in dessert, type delectable surprises, like the inspiration to write this in the first place. Good to have some degree of mystery. Who will I see around the city? Who will I meet someday? What aspect of a person that I like will be conveyed if I always know what you'll say, what you'll do ain't the same as the blissful, unpredictable, and true. Good to have some degree of mystery. Many moments lost composure trying to figure out the universe, let alone the world, and this realization that even if I can, then it wouldn't be as grand or just good when the favorable spectrum is my state of being, or the surface things witness both, then my soul sings specially. Not all mystery is good, but the healthy dose of it most appreciate the dopeness. There it is.
Thank you, Anton. Do you wish to share maybe with us what prompted writing this? Was there a specific event or feeling?
Yeah, it would. This is one of I've shared like a couple in this group that I wrote years ago. So it's difficult, at least for me, to like fully think of what inspired it. But I remember I wouldn't be surprised if it's Alan Watts, because Alan Watts is a big influence on me. And one of the things that I remember him talking about, although like it also has to do with whatever life experiences, is the enjoying the unknown. Because a lot of times when we talk about the unknown, whether it's in our specific life or just life in general, it's something that we feel like we have to avoid, or like part of this, I said, figure out. But there's moments or time periods I have where it's something that I appreciate, and there's something fun or interesting about certain types of unpredictability. So that's, I'm kind of speculating where it came from, but that's that's some thoughts that I have. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't ever mean to put anyone on the spot. You're always welcome to tell me, I'm not sure. I just felt like it.
No,
But thank you.
I
I
mean,
appreciate it.
this is what I do in conversations anyway. Pretty
Awesome.
much so. Yeah.
Thank you. So would anyone else like to share a poem with us today? Go ahead and type a exclamation in the chat. I shall read for you guys one more Robert Frost poem.
Can I just comment on Anton?
By all means.
So I'm getting used to your style, I think. I need it a few more times. The rhythm bit, it's not in my head how it works. But the last one, this one, give me a few more. I think I'll be with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, even I would say I don't always know what I'm doing rhythmically. Part of it is experimental, but I think I've gotten better at it since when I wrote this, in my own opinion. But like, yeah.
How long ago was this?
This was 2017.
Okay.
That I wrote this, yeah. So
lifetime ago, wasn't
it? Feels like it.
Yeah. Yeah, cool, thanks.
Thank you again. JP, you're up next.
Short poem. Nuts in pieces. I wanted walnuts because you wanted walnuts. I cracked open my heart. Now my walls are bitty pieces. I'm nuts for you. I've got a lady in my life now, and I've written a dozen poems in the last week, and that seems to be our favorite.
That's great.
So
Those are
just-
life goals, by the way. So this is
JP?
totally an aside, but there's so many guys here. I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't know why nobody ever tries to pick somebody up in a bookstore. Because I'm saying, if you would walk up to me when I'm in the bookstore and offer to buy my books from me, you're gonna get my phone number. I'm just putting it out there. Who needs bars?
JP, you just reminded me of, again, a few lifetimes ago when I was with a girl who I'd only recently met, and she bought some nuts. And I said, "Oh, show us your nuts." And she went, "Ugh," and there you go. You just reminded me of that. So thanks.
How did that end up? That's more important.
Well, the relationship, yeah, it was quite nuts, but it was enjoyable. It ended in pieces, nuts and pieces.
Life imitating art. All right, folks, let's see. Okay, yep, I'm forcing one more Robert Frost upon you. This one I've chosen is called Reluctance. He does seem to be, I realize now that a theme of his is a little bit of duality happening here. So that's actually quite perfect for, our call and response, heaven and hell. Okay, Reluctance. Out through the fields and the woods, and over the walls I have wended. I have climbed the hills of view and looked at the world and descended. I have come by the highway home, and lo, it is ended. The leaves are all dead on the ground, save those that the oak is keeping, to ravel them one by one and let them go scraping and creeping out over the crusted snow when others are sleeping. And the dead leaves lie huddled and still, no longer blown hither and thither. The last lone aster is gone. The flowers of the witch hazel wither. The heart is still aching to seek, but the feet question, whither? Ah, when to the heart of man was it ever less than a treason to go with the drift of things, to yield with a grace to reason, and bow and accept the end of a love or a season? So yes, I'm tying that one in to all of your themes of love. Hey, that's a little bit about love too. Seasons, guys, seasons. Last call, I'm going to give 15 seconds. If anyone is dying to read a poem for us, go ahead and throw in an exclamation mark in the chat. If not, we are going to move on to our collaborative poetry. Okay, seeing no takers, here's what we're going to do. I'll split you guys up into two groups. I will be the moderator for one. Would anybody like to volunteer? Okay, DLJ is going to be the moderator for the second. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a call and response style poem. What we do here is I provide a theme. The theme here is hell to heaven. So you're going to have a conversation between heaven and hell. In your group, you will create collaboratively altogether 16 lines, 4 stanzas with 4 lines each. 2 of your stanzas will be hell speaking to heaven, and 2 of them will be heaven responding to hell. You can do alternating, or you can do 2 and 2. Yours the decision on how you want to read it. just know that 2 will be for heaven and 2 will be for hell. When we come back together, we're going to read each of those poems. Then we're going to have DLJ's group, their hell stanzas are going to provide or going to talk to my group's heaven stanzas. We'll read them across platforms and create one giant collaborative poem with those 2 separate collaborative poems. We've only done this once or twice, so it's okay. We don't have all the answers. We're just learning as we go. This is supposed to be fun, guys. You're not required to participate, but you really are encouraged to do so. The moderator throws up a white screen and everybody calls out lines for the first 20 minutes. We are going to go ahead and give you guys, did you think 10 was good, or did you guys think you needed 15, like I think somebody mentioned? What do you think?
For the editing or the writing?
For the editing.
Well, yeah, depends what you end up with, doesn't it? Sometimes 10 minutes is enough. Sometimes you need 2 days.
There.
10 is, I think 10 was fine last time we did it.
All right, well, we'll leave it without you. We usually do 20 and 10. We'll stick to that, 20 and 10. And when we come back, we'll take just a few minutes to decide. After, we'll first read each poem, then we'll take a few minutes to decide how we want them interwoven. All right, folks, let me set up the breakout rooms. And oh, for any of you whose first time this is, the breakout rooms are not recorded. So feel free to speak up. You're not going to be on camera in case you're camera shy. To share my screen. This is the second collaborative poem. Who in my group would like to help me read it? Can I get a volunteer? Okay, Michael's volunteering. Great. Do you want to do heaven or hell? Oops, you're muted.
Yeah. I guess I could do. I guess I could do hell.
All right, great. Let me throw it up on the screen, and you're up.
Which way to go from here? North? Down here is warm, and truths are foretold. Beware of straying from the path you set forth, because nobody here gets over a cold.
Serene and calm, no troubles found here. Guardians of light to protect all life. I'm just winging it as I get around, dear. Cherubs and harps, free from strife.
There's love when things fall apart. The chaos, the unknowns, such great peaks. I am but a piece of art. The fires, the colors, the shrieks.
But here, have no doubts. There's nothing around to hurt you. A reprieve from anger, darkness, shouts. This is the place of wisdom and virtue. So I'm fascinated by how many similar themes. Also, Mwambub, do you notice that both groups personified these ranges? There's a lot of eyes for heaven and hell. We had a small little chat about that, and I'm amused to see that we both did it.
Yeah, I mean, the overlap in the tropes, very, very nice actually, both groups.
Yes, you guys, fantastic. This was a hard topic, and I'm actually really excited for us to splice them. So this is going to be a first time, guys. We've never, so we have, this will be the third time that we've combined the 2 poems. This is going to be the first time that we take a few minutes to discuss amongst ourselves which ones we think should go when. So what we're going to do is DLJ has 2 heavens and 2 hells, DLJ's group. My group has 2 heavens and 2 hells. Let's pick 1 hell from DLJ to be a call and 1 heaven from Maritza to be a response. And we're going to couple each one together and make a giant poem. And then we're going to pick people to read it. And when we read, we're going to ask you guys to, what did we do? Joe, last time we made them files so that they will be easier to read, right? Is that something you can easily do with yours, DLJ?
He's muted.
He is muted. I can do
Yeah,
that.
I can pick up the second one from the chat and put it into the.
Oh, one. Oh, if you want to do that, okay. Go for it. I'll let you do that then.
Yeah.
I was gonna make 2 files, but 1 file is probably smarter, huh? And while
One file, you could throw it up on the screen.
yes, that would be great. Okay, so I'm gonna so guys, we're a small enough group. Just go ahead and jump in. What we're gonna do, so I didn't give ours a number. That would have been smart.
I'm doing it.
You're gonna do it now. So make them all different numbers so we would know, 1 through 8 and 1 through 8. Or maybe, you know what? Hold off on sending it. Let's do our discussion first, and then you can send it when it's in the rearranged order.
Well, I'll put it up here as it is, and that we can discuss, right?
Yes, thank you. Awesome.
All right.
I could have done that. I'm just slow today. Sorry, guys.
We do screen share. There it is.
Great.
Can you see it?
It's very small.
Yeah, no, sorry. I've got to resize. Better?
No.
No?
Yes, there you go. Yep. There was a delay. Okay, so now let's decide which ones to pair with whom. Like, for example, take a look and think, like, if you think how one should go with, oh, can you rename the right side to like 3 and 4 or something like that?
Yep. That makes sense. Oh, sorry. I just realized I got the wrong bit up there. That's my old one.
Yeah, I was like kind of wondering.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't want to.
That was my homework that I did for the thing.
Oh, no. I was just thinking, I was like, wait a minute.
Looks a little different.
You're hell bent on getting that poem read, huh?
Yeah, no, sorry. That was. All right.
Excuse me.
I don't want to delete that one altogether. Just move that one out of the way. There we go.
That's going to make an easy read.
That's difficult.
Uh-oh.
Boy.
We lost someone. Somebody lost interest.
So I'm just moving it. So I have, oh, I can go, shit.
What is happening over here?
Right there. There you go. I just didn't want to lose it. There we go. Right, back. Let's move that one. Get rid of it. PowerPoint skills let me down. Right. Okay. Now I think I've got it. Okay. Everybody. Okay. You can see it.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
So what are we choosing here? Which?
Like, for example, we would say the very first read would be Hell 3. The second would be Heaven 1. The next would be Hell 1, or I'm just throwing those out. I didn't pick those. I'm just saying. So we're going to merge them, but we're going to merge them Heaven to Hell or Hell to Heaven.
Right, but we're going to keep the standards as they are, right? We're not going to make it.
Yes, the all 4 will stay together, but they will get, we're going to do one from each side alternatingly.
And we're going to end up with 4 stanzas or 16 as a whole thing.
16. You'll have 8 because there's only 8 stanzas.
It might.
Okay,
yeah.
so right.
Where'd you get 16?
No, I mean, are we going to end up with all of it? Just
all of it will be one large poem.
Right, so it will be 16 stanzas total.
No, only 8.
Right, so we're picking 2 from one side and 2 from the other side, yes?
No, we're picking 4 and 4 to have 8.
Yeah, no, but we got 8 already.
No, you only have 4, and each poem is 4 stanzas.
Yes. So
So you're not excluding anything.
No, everybody together. Nothing's getting excluded. All we're doing. Oh, you know what? I'm using the wrong word again. I apologize. I'm slow today. Yeah, you're looking at it from a stanza being 2. I look at it as the stanza is the 4. So the quartet, each quartet will move together. Is that more clear?
Each 4 lines, right?
Yes.
I'm seeing it as a stanza. Yes. Okay. 4 lines, right?
Yes, and that's what I was calling
Okay.
each 4 lines, 1 stanza is what I was looking at it
Right.
as.
Okay. So we currently have 8 stanzas
Total.
from the 2 poems, right? So are we going to end up with 16 in different order, or just to select 8?
I don't see where you're finding 16.
Well, we got 4 lots of. We got.
No, DLJ, we are not going to keep the original. We are going to reshuffle
We're
the
keeping
existing 8.
keeping everything. Nothing is getting erased.
Right.
All we're doing
okay,
immersion.
we're
So there
merging.
are 4 stanzas in one poem,
Yeah.
4 stanzas in the second poem. We're going to make one big poem with 8 stanzas.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Yes.
Don't know
My
where
bad.
you're getting 16.
Yeah. No. Okay. I'm with you.
I'm confused. No, we're not throwing anybody's words away. No. All we're doing, and this is a fun experiment. It should be fun. It's when you read it out loud, you'll be amazed by how it works, which is just crazy because it really shouldn't work. This time, the reason we're making it just a little bit more complicated today is that in the past, all we did was we read them. We took, like, for example, you see the way this is on the screen? In the past, what we did was we just tied 1 to 3 because that's where that falls together here. And then we did 2 to 4. But what we found is some of them would have worked better with the others. So for example, it might be better to pair 1 with 4 instead of.
That could be one order.
Right. So Mahbub has a suggestion. He thinks we should pair Hell 1 with Heaven 3, Hell 3 with Heaven 1, Hell 2 with Heaven 4, and Hell 4 with Heaven 2. Now, did you just randomly pick those, or you thought they were
Random
best together?
number generator.
I just went diagonal. Hell, heaven, and
No. We want to give a little bit more thought. The whole point of looking at it is to look at them and see which ones you think might work better together.
together. Okay.
What do we think would be the best? You know what? The easiest thing, which one do we think would be the best to close with? The last stanza.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
My vote is that Heaven 4 should be the very last. Oh, sorry, Michael. Sorry to see you go. You should check out the video at the very end to see what we come up with. So my thought would be that Heaven 4 should be the last one because I like the way it ends.
And then we pick a Hell from the first poem, right? So there are 2
Before
Hells,
it,
1
right?
and 2.
But right now, yeah. I just to make life easy, I'm thinking let's know which one we're ending with, and I would suggest Heaven 4 unless somebody has heartache.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm liking that too.
okay.
So we close with Hell 2 and Heaven 4.
We're gonna close with Heaven 4. You want to put Hell 2 next to it?
No, before that we are going closing, right? So
Right, they don't have to stay together. No, they don't have to stay together. All we have decided so far is that we're closing with Heaven 4. We haven't decided anybody else yet.
So I'm suggesting before Heaven 4, Hell 2 can come.
Hell 2, okay.
As the last 2 poems, because.
Got it.
So are you going to open a new page and paste it like that, or in the new order?
Do you want me to do that, DLJ?
You could just switch it. Well, anyway.
Or duplicate that slide.
Let's decide a couple more first before we go moving.
So DLJ, is this a PowerPoint presentation you're using?
Yeah.
PPT?
I have no idea.
Why don't you just duplicate the slide so we keep the original and then modify, right? Just right click and duplicate.
Yeah.
There you go. The original order and the modified order.
So we're moving Hell 2.
Before Heaven 4.
Before Heaven 4. Spaces.
Since Marisa, you said this was the good ending, you can also suggest a good opening if you don't mind.
I'm decided. I'm thinking.
which one is the best opening? And it has to be hell because we are going hell,
Right.
heaven, right?
I'm torn between Hell 1 and Hell 3. What do you guys think
For the opening.
for the opening?
Well, we've got a bit of art in here, and we've got another bit of art
With
in
Hell 4
Hell 4.
and
So
Hell 4, well, we can do, what if we make it Hell 1 and Hell 4 to open?
you can't have two hells together.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
wait, right, we can't have two houses together, sorry. My bad, I don't know. Like I said, COVID killed some brain cells.
Just for
I'm
symmetry,
convinced.
I'm going to move
Oh.
that one over there.
Excuse me, sorry.
Uh,
So I
And
like
four
how-
and 4 and 2 open. Hell 4 and heaven 2 open the poem. Up
Hell
top.
4,
I
heaven.
like it
Hell
because
4.
Hell 1 has inspiration for art, and then Hell 4 has kind of a description of the art because it gets more specific. Maybe
So
Hell
this-
1 first and then Hell 4 second. I don't know.
So you like that order? Okay, good. We'll keep it as is then.
Okay, so Hell 1, so you said Hell 1 first? What did she say? I missed that.
Yeah, Hell 1 first, and then Hell 4 is the third. So the way we've got it.
Okay, all
Because
right,
it kind of expands on hell 1. So I think it's a logical
I
order.
like
Good
it,
one.
yep.
Yeah.
So now we do need to decide which heaven is gonna go with Hell 1.
Hmm.
Hey guys, we're flush with heavens and hells.
Okay,
Sorry.
we can't move heaven 4 though. So we've got heaven 3 and heaven 2 to choose from. Or heaven 1. 1, 2, or 3. Which one's going to go after Hell 1?
Let's see, it says nobody here gets over a cold.
Both are looking very good for heaven's opening. So
How about heaven 3 as the wait, it's
heaven's
hell.
opening. Okay.
I'm sorry. Having 3 to go with Hell 1? Oh,
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
all right.
What's your reasoning?
Oh,
Because it's for some reason it's I know we were being goofy to say the least with our heaven anyway, but for some reason it makes more sense to me as far as humor to have heaven 1 after heaven 3. As far as humor, at least.
Okay.
so then we decided so it's gonna be Hell 1, Heaven 3, Hell 4. Which heaven are we pairing with Hell 4? The fires, the colors, the shrieks. Let's see. Heaven 2? We go from shrieks to barbecue? Or from shrieks to,
Lord of a cloud.
Correcting the spelling.
So the only thing left now is swap heaven 2 and 1.
yes.
Others are kind of fixed there.
Yeah, we've got the first two we've
Then
sort of, decided, and
the opening is done, the ending is done, right?
Yep.
So
So right now, Hell 4 ends with the fires, the colors, the shrieks. Which heaven, either Heaven 1 or Heaven 2, which one do we think would go best with it? Like after it, I mean.
Mhm.
Oh, because we only have this one.
there is an I in hell 4 and there is an I in heaven 1.
Mhm.
And then hell 3 could match with heaven 2. Yeah.
So Heaven 1.
You
Okay.
can take a look, just swap heaven 1 and hell.
You want to swap the two heavens? Is that what you're saying?
Swapping heavens. Oh my.
1, yeah, and then let's see how it looks. Then otherwise you can
Sure.
undo it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
In place of heaven 2, right? And then move heaven 2 back. Yeah. Now, how does that
So let me see. Are we looking at, is it Hell 1, Heaven 3, Hell 4, Heaven 1,
Yep. So far.
Hell
Hell
3,
Heaven 2.
Heaven 2, Hell 2, and Heaven 4?
Right, Marita, give it a read.
No, we're gonna read it all.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
So
no, but I'm saying if we just have somebody read it out and see how it flows.
before we do our whole everybody separate. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And you have it in the right order. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 2, 2, 4. Nice. Play those lottery numbers, somebody.
Yeah, barbecues and fanning the flames. So heaven to hell to. I think it looks okay.
I think it does. What's
Hey.
driving me crazy is that they're different. It's different type font, different sizes. Sorry, it's not a big deal. I'm just fussy.
Can be changed.
You want me to give it one read altogether?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. It's warm down here. Inspiration for art. The wrong type of fire to desire. And strangely, those people we admire. Serene and calm. No troubles found here. Guardians of light to protect all life. I'm just winging it as I get around, dear. Cherubs and harps, free from strife. There's love when things fall apart. The cows, the unknowns, such great peaks. I am but a piece of art. The fires, the colors, the shrieks. As I sit in heaven, Lord of a cloud, watching over you every day, patiently, wishing you were here. Which way to go from here? North. Down here is warm, and truths are foretold. Beware of straying from the path you set forth, 'cause nobody here gets over a cold. Barbecues and sweet news, and all your loved ones, old flames, divine hot sauce, heavenly fire, all the best names are here. It's tantalizing down here till it burns. I was a fan of flames, now I fan them, scintillating, roasting souls, itching skin. But here, have no doubts, there's nothing around to hurt you. A reprieve from anger, darkness, shouts. This is the place of wisdom and virtue. I like it. All right.
You know what? I think surprisingly, it worked. Yeah.
It always does. This is the magic. I think it's, go ahead, Katie, jump in.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe even switch heaven 1 and heaven 3, because then you would get like patiently wishing you were here, and then it says, and then later it says dear, so it gets more personal. I might even flip those two.
I'm okay with that.
They sit in heaven, watching.
I'm okay with that, but you know, DLJ has the pen, so we have to see if he's amenable to such change.
Heaven 1 and heaven 3 to swap over, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because you would say patiently wishing you were here, and then it says I'm just winging it as I get around dear. I think that like dear is more, even more.
Okay.
All right. Give you a second.
Awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm looking for volunteers for different people to be different numbers. So I can have just one person be all the hell and somebody else be all the heaven. Unless there are several people who want to read, in which case we can have several. Don't everybody jump up at once. All right, DLJ, maybe it's me and you. Would you like to be heaven?
We've done our, we need everybody else to chip in.
Somebody else? Let's see. All right, well then.
I'll jump in.
No off the hook for you. Who was that?
For
Anton,
hell. I'll
you're gonna
read the
be
hell.
hell? Sweet.
Yeah.
So Anton is hell. Who wants to be heaven? JP, you know you want to be heaven. It's your chance.
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I'll do it if nobody else will do it. Heaven?
Anybody else? Yes. Marco, Z, anybody want to be heaven? How often do you get to be heaven, guys?
Because we already are.
Is that so?
It should be a man because it says patiently wishing you're here, dear. So it should be a man.
So women can't say dear?
Well,
To that.
I had never said dear.
I take exception.
Sorry, it was my own bias.
I take exception. I can be heavenly. Well, nobody who knows me would actually say that, so I have to nominate myself for that.
No, it looked lyrical, a man and a woman, like almost like a song.
That's really funny.
Right. So this is the divine comedy of 22nd century. So 21st century.
But she said heaven had to be a man. We already have a man being hell.
Mhm.
So we just switch the roles.
That's hilarious.
I would agree.
But we have nobody volunteering. We need somebody to volunteer.
For what? How many readers do you want?
Well, I'm having a hard time. I was just gonna do you and I because I was having a hard time getting volunteers. But
Yeah.
just one more. Anton said he would do hell. So I was looking for somebody to do heaven. And Katie thinks heaven has to be a man. So JP said he didn't really want to. So I would.
He said he would if nobody else did. So come on, JP. We like your voice.
We're twisting your arm. Okay, so what I'm gonna
So
ask.
JP heaven and Maritza hell? Is that what?
No, no. JP is going to be heaven. Anton is going to be hell. And so what I'm going to ask is everyone else mute. And what I would like is while we're reading, absolutely nothing else is said except for the poem. If you make a mistake reading, just keep reading. Read your line. We're not going to prompt you. Because what I would like is for the entire poem to be read with no interruptions, because it really
And
does.
applause at the end.
No, for poets, you're supposed to snap. No, okay.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding. But yes, you can do whatever you want when after the last line is read, but let's try to maintain the integrity of the poem. So nothing but the poem noise is what we should be hearing. So if you're not JP or Anton, please put yourself on mute. And if you don't, I will happily do it for you.
Okay. I'll get started. All right. It's warm down here. Inspiration for art. The wrong type of fire to desire. And strangely, those people we admire.
As I sit in heaven, Lord of a cloud, watching over you every day, patiently wishing you were here.
There's love when things fall apart. The chaos, the unknowns, such great peaks. I am but a piece of art. The fires, the colors, the shrieks.
Serene and calm, no troubles found here. Guardians of light to protect all life. I'm just winging it as I get around here. Cherubs and harps free from strife.
Which way to go from here? North? Down here is warm and truths are foretold. Beware of straying from the path you set forth, because nobody gets over a cold.
Barbecues and sweet news, and all your loved ones, old flames, divine hot sauce, heavenly fire, all the best names are here.
It's tantalizing down here till it burns. I was a fan of flames, now I fan them. Scintillating, roasting souls, itching skin.
But here, have no doubts. There's nothing around to hurt you. A reprieve from anger, darkness, shouts. This is the place of wisdom and virtue.
That was lovely. Thank you, guys. That was great. So I'm excited. I think this is great. It's just like, well, I mean, honestly, my group wasn't sure we were going to finish a poem. And not only did we finish a poem, we finished it well enough to combine it with another fully finished poem. You guys are amazing. Just amazing.
And very well read, Anton and JP.
Yes.
Almost sounded like heaven and hell listening to them.
And thank you for volunteering and slightly being voluntold and doing it with grace. Thank you, JP. And so I know we're like super horrible on time, but I want to very quickly say that I'm fascinated by some of the things that came out in this poem. I'm amused that everyone's stuck so closely to the traditional concepts of hell and heaven, even those of us who don't immediately, and don't really identify with a religion. You still, that's what comes to mind, the traditional idea of, fire and like cherubs, and then an up and a down, which is funny because I personally think my hell is going to be ice and not fire. But and yet what comes to mind when people say hell is still fire, right? And this, Mabu pointed it out, and since he pointed it out, I can't unsee it, that we personify and give humanoid characteristics to these concepts of heaven and hell, because Mahbub said in our chat, he was like, who is this I? Who's the I in hell that's speaking? And we all were like, and then we just kept doing it. And you guys, your group did it too. I think that's
we actually had the same conversation about who is the I, who are we watching over, who's the, that was the same conversation.
Right. And we couldn't answer it, but we also couldn't get away from the fact that we thought there was an I. And I think it's just personification of these concepts.
That's how these things got invented, after all.
Yeah. So, I like I said, I love the focus and themes, and the thing about poetry is there's always a little bit of our subconscious that comes out and bleeds through. And so it's interesting here. I'm just really fascinated by, there's also interwoven, it's this strong desire to make these things comical and not quite getting there. But we're all, it looks like every line is kind of trying to be a little bit facetious.
Oh, come on, the wishing you were here bit, that's hilarious, isn't it? You're wishing you were dead. That was brilliant.
I didn't get that. I'm not funny today. I apparently lost my funny bone and haven't found it yet, because no, I didn't get that since you just said it.
No, well, that's the thing. Once you reorder it, it changes, right? Because we originally did it as somebody like a guardian angel watching over somebody who's still alive, and then saying "wish you were here" was therefore a funny line, right?
Yeah.
But now it's changed as though you're wishing that somebody who's in hell was in heaven. So it actually
right. It does.
It changes the meaning. So that's
when I like the use of the word love. Hell is, that the only one who spoke of love in this poem, in all 8 stanzas, hell was the only one who spoke of love.
Yeah, see, good. Dramatic.
And DLG, may I add that in one of my traditions, hell is not forever. After you finish your time of punishment, you get promoted to heaven. So the wish you
so the wishing you were here makes great sense.
Right. Means sense in that strand of Abrahamic thought. So
yeah.
Nice.
It's purgatory in heaven. in Catholicism.
All right. And you guys do speak of purgatory somewhere, right? In one of the lines?
No, I don't. I don't think we did. No.
Well, my team beats all of that. We don't even have a hell.
JP posted a comment in chat about purgatory, though. That was a great comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask, because we're near running out of time, but Z, you're new. I'm curious, because you couldn't actually see Z had a bit of a handicap with her screen that she couldn't actually see what we were writing. So it was all we're trying to do it all verbally. What did you think of the whole thing?
Oh, I think it's fabulous. I love the way everything is running together and smooth, and it's fun too.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And that isn't it crazy, guys? This, we took, and we were in separate corners, and we managed to put them together, and it actually sounds cohesive. The magic. You guys are magic.
As I see the poem, one more thought comes to my mind. Heaven boasts that all the best names are here in Heaven 3.
Mm-hmm.
But in my tradition, there are different levels of heaven. Like you climb like heaven 1, 2, 3. The more good you are, the higher heaven you get. But hell is democratic. It's one place and has the most names.
Interesting.
Right, you may have the best names, but you are like a feudal heaven. I am democratic, I have more names. That's one retort hell can give. I mean, if somebody
Huh.
wants to play.
I like that.
Hell
Hell
is
is democratic.
Democracy
I
is
want
hell,
that.
hell is democracy. Yeah.
I want to run around.
Right, there's
I want
feudalism in heaven.
slogans
There
for
are, I
it.
think, 7 or 9 heavens, and hell is flat with more people, so more citizens. Like, yeah.
Interesting. And it's interesting you say that because hell too alludes to hell having so many peaks.
Hmm.
Right. What does the peak stand here for as a metaphor? Like,
So that one line specifically is me. So I don't necessarily, I'm not convinced that there exists this hell concept. I imagine hell would be a place where, you know, we go to make ourselves better, would be my thought if I were going to accept a concept of hell. And I think of peaks because I view it as you were just describing hell. Heaven, I'm sorry. I view that that's the way hell would be. Like if I'm super uninformed and I'm way off my beaten path, I'm going to be in like a different level of hell because I have to go through that many more levels before I get to whatever concept of heaven might exist. But that's just my thought.
I think we force-fitted peaks to rhyme with shrieks, maybe.
No, actually, I chose
You
shrieks to rhyme with peaks.
The other way. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of rhyming schemes, a fascinating thing here is that I had a brief worry that because our poem was rhyming couplets, it wouldn't mesh as well with the other poem that was not. But it still works. It doesn't make it awkward or odd in any way.
Your sound has dipped out, or you've gone faint.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you suddenly went quiet, or maybe it's my end. I don't know.
Oh, it might be me. I might have been trying to stifle a cough.
You're back. You're good.
No, I was saying that it was fascinating to me that we had like every one of our couplets was rhyming. We used the A-B pattern, and you guys did not. And I had the momentary concern that it would stop it from being able to interweave as well, but it really didn't. It doesn't make any difference at all. It doesn't hurt it.
We got the occasional rhyme, just for random. Yeah.
You do, yeah. But you have just enough that it blends ours nicely.
Oh, it's good. I'm impressed. Well done, team. So,
Yes.
Looking at the time.
Right, we're almost pumpkins.
What we're going to do next week?
Let's see. I don't have something chosen. I'm not that good. I got myself here, guys. What do you want from me? Let's see here.
Throw it open then. Any suggestions?
I am open to suggestions.
We need what we're going to do now is choose a poet for next week, a theme poet, and then also an actual theme.
A theme, yes. And I will ask you, please, to also send me this this reworked version. I think I would like to add it in since we purposefully merged them.
I'll email the PowerPoint.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then for Z, since you're new, I'll mention that what I do is all the poems that are read during the day or during the evening, I collect them, and what I do is I create a link for each poem. If it's a personal poem, I usually reach out to the poet and ask them if they're willing to share with me their poem. If they throw it in the chat, I usually grab it. And then that gets added as well. And then the collaborative poems I put, so the poems that are read are just a link. Oh, and somebody is not muted. So, right. What I do is there's links for the poems read, and then the actual collaborative poems are in there. And then we take that list and put it in with the YouTube video. So you can see each poem if you would like later. But first we have to pick a poet for next week.
And in terms of the theme, do you want to do the same format as last time where we do the call and response, or do you want to do
I
something
mean,
different?
we've only done it a couple times. If you guys aren't sick of it yet, I would happily do it again. What do you guys think? Are you sick of this already, or you okay still? Willing to experiment a little bit longer?
I think it's quite fun. I like the fact that we're working together at the end. I don't really remember what format we're working together, but I like the coming together of and shaping something whole. So I rather like that second level of collaboration. I'm quite enjoying it. But whether it has to be this format, that's another question.
So we could try it not being call and response. We could just make, instead of doing like the theme being like heaven and hell, we can pick just one theme and still interweave them.
Something like that, yeah.
Let's see. There's so many poets. Does anybody have a poet that they would like to explore more? You can shamelessly suggest it, and then it'll give you an excuse to get into it, into that poet a little bit.
I haven't. Oh, last week there was a suggestion from a guy who turned up. He was really on the ball. I enjoyed his contribution, but he didn't turn up this time. But he suggested rap, and Anton was quite enthused by that, I think.
Rap?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
That's not a poet.
Well, I know, but he gave a good reasoning as to why rap was poetry, which I don't get. I don't understand.
I have no quarrel with that, but I'd rather have a poet. Let's see. Rap poems? That would be harder for me. It's not my area of
Yeah, let's take Maritza out of her comfort zone, shall we?
I'm intrigued.
Out of mine too, I have to say.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder whether or not, I know who you're talking about, DLJ, whether or not he was thinking of it being best for us to talk about a specific rapper, MC, whatever title you want, or just the genre.
Yeah, he was talking about Tupac, I think.
It was.
So in a lot of open mic nights, you get a lot of rap because it's more like spoken word tends to be kind of rap like, because it's, you know, usually it's a designed for performance, it's designed to be read out loud. Is that what you mean when you're talking rap? Because I immediately rap poems, right?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm thinking about like, even though like what I do here is like, you know, the I don't want to say a cappella, but without the beat, you know, like there's slam poets have a certain like rhythm to it. So yeah, I see that in sometimes
Right,
rhymes.
slam poets. That's the phrase I was looking for. Yes, that's what they actually call them, slam poets, and it's kind of rap like.
Yeah, similar.
Is that, do you think, what he was alluding to?
I remember him, I mean, Tupac was mentioned and like what I think of Tupac or what he thinks of Tupac, but he was also talking more broadly about like why isn't rap talked about in colleges as an example. So that's why I was like, if he was thinking more broadly or yeah. But what comes to mind when I was thinking is like, I'm not saying him specifically, but for example, Tupac is what I, you know.
I am kind of interested in exploring this concept, actually.
But I'm also debating in my mind because it's like, what is, I can think of at least a couple of people in my mind, but who is, what do I want to say? It doesn't have to be family friendly or strictly family friendly, but who's, you know, palatable enough. Because
well, I mean,
how it often is.
So
I'll wrap on.
You know, to go on a slight philosophical bent here, you know, at the very most basic levels, both poetry and rap are both structured on repetition and difference. And, you know, there's a lot of similarity. I mean, you could make a strong case for rap.
Yeah, you could. And Queen Latifah does that very well with her rap poetry.
She does. That's true, actually.
That's a name of somebody who would be more, because I know that there's a lot of cussing and a lot of adult material in a lot of rap. So, but not from my impression of Queen Latifah, as an example. So,
who wrote I don't I'm reaching here for and I have read a lot of poetry, but I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think let's do it. How do you guys think? What's the room think in general? Do you want to explore this topic? Is anyone super against it?
Not against it. I just want to say it's gone 4 a.m. here and I'm crashing. So you guys decide.
Oh no. Okay. So let's go.
You guys decide, let me know and I'll.
We will let you know. I think, wait, do you have a suggestion for a theme before you run off, DLJ?
No.
Okay, no worries. He's like, nope, I'm past my bedtime. All right, we're all pumpkins. So I am going to I'll let you know. I'll hit you up in the chat. And you'll send me this, okay? Send it to me by email.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Thank you. All right, have a good night. Sorry guys, we're taking 3 years to pick here. Let's is Joe still here?
I think Joe's just gone as well.
Joe's gone too.
All right, so I'll
All
stop
right.
sharing.
Yes, thank you.
I'll see you next time. Thanks, folks.
See you then. Yeah, we'll do
open to what I'm open to what others have to say too. I wasn't like I mean, obviously I have a bias for hip hop or for rap, but I wasn't even though it wasn't clear, I wasn't trying to say, yeah, we should do that, because I have mixed feelings about it as because of the format or the context.
I see. So it might maybe not. Okay, let's see. Katie, Mabu, Marco, what do you guys think? You guys come here often. What are your thoughts on? You think it might be too hard? Do you have another artist that you're burning to hear about? Katie, go ahead.
I don't have any strong. I think that would be cool, except for it would be really cool to. I'm at a loss of like how to describe it, but it would be so cool to even get anywhere with it.
Okay. What are you thinking, Mabu?
I'm good with Queen Latifah.
Does she have enough poetry that we can make her the featured poet? Let's see.
I'm actually unsure.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar.
And the irony is she became more known for other things she's done. Well, I would say just as or more known for other things she's done professionally than her rap career. What do you think, Z? Are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm cool with whatever.
So she doesn't have very many poems, actually. I mean, well, she has her songs could be poems, but very few.
Could it be music more broadly as the theme? The song lyrics?
I tell you what, let's do this. If we can think of something else for next Monday, give me 2 weeks to research, and then we'll come up with something for 2 weeks that is rap themed. We'll see what we have. Slam poetry would be my thought process, would be to go from that angle. Because I know that slam poetry is not quite rap, but it often is rap.
Or similar.
Right.
It's very spontaneous, kind of in the same.
It can be,
Yeah,
yes.
that might be better. That might be better with the slam poetry. It fits in more.
Let's see. I'm going to give me 2 weeks to chew on it. And but in the meantime, let's pick a different poet for next week. Just so I can have extra extra time to research and cheat a little bit. And let me see, I will instead, let's go with, oh gosh, there's so many poets rattling around in my head that sometimes it's hard to pick just one. Actually, I will say, maybe not next week, but Marco, I think I may reserve the right to, at some future date, choose Joy Hadjo for the featured poet, because she really is amazing. And I was super, like, it was so great to hear you bring her up. I thank you again for that. Let's see. Nobody has a poet they're dying to.
And I'm also like, I'm not completely sure. I'll say the same thing I think I've heard DLJ say before. I'm not completely sure I'll be here next week. So I'm kind of thinking, I was halfway thinking that when I was saying things earlier too, is like, I'm going to throw out a topic and I don't even know for sure I'm going to be there.
Right. Well, what about, speaking of a focus and theme, what, does anybody have a suggestion on that?
Oh, theme.
Theme. All right, you guys are zero help today. What's happening? What's going on? Usually everyone has suggestions.
Google help.
Say again?
I'm Googling.
You're Googling. Gotta find the answers in Google. Just remember, Google knows all but understands nothing. All right, guys, let me not keep you here. Since what we'll do is I will come up with, I'll pick a poem, I'll pick a theme, and I will post it. We'll post it in the meetup. Let me very quickly give you I know it's so late, apologies. Let me give you a quick taste for what's coming up in 52 Living Ideas, because, you know, she has a bunch of really exciting things happen. And I would like you all to. So on Tuesdays, they do the Analects by Confucius. They've been going chapter to chapter with Joe. So that's tomorrow at 9. On our Comprehensivist Wednesdays, we have CJ coming back. He's going to do the intellectual virtues for comprehensive practice. He's going to take another run at those. That's Wednesday. On Thursday, we're doing the farewell discourse to the Gospel of John. It's going to be chapter 13, verses 1 through 11. On Friday, you're going to get into the Divine Feminine with Evanique. And this one's called What Happened to the Goddesses in Western Religious Tradition. That's Friday at 9. On Friday, also, oh no, that's 9. So on Saturday at 7 p.m., we're going to get into the Asian philosophies again. Confucianism of Tang Dynasty in the 8th century. On Sunday, we have Trivium is coming back. The Center for the Study of Digital Life is going to be doing a 4-lecture series session with us, starting on Sunday the 16th at 3 p.m. And this one is Roots of Our Current Crisis of Meaning. And then also on Sunday at 5 p.m. is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Exploring the Art of Interpretation. That one is at 5 p.m. So that's the rest of the week with 52 Living Ideas. I will not keep you guys anymore. I will pick us a poem and a theme, and I'll post it. And I really look forward to seeing you all here next Monday. I've said it before. I will say it again, guys. This is the highlight of my week. Thank you for sharing your evening with me and writing beautiful poetry together. Welcome, Z. Was really nice having
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you again. And to the rest of you, many thanks. We'll see you next week. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Thank you, Marisha.